Hi, it's Paul Antonelli here. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Ideal Business podcast. I'm really excited today to be talking about something that I just love. It's something that it's just one of the key approaches to building a great business and having just what I would call crazy exchange. So when dealing with one of the criteria for an ideal business is the concept of exchange, which means that you just deliver an abundance with your clients and everyone that you engage with. So this idea today, or this approach to building incredible exchange and really differentiating yourself in the marketplace, is called a need and wants. Where does it come from? What I found was, and I might give you a bit of history. When I started ResiCert, this was back in 2009. I didn't know a lot about building inspections, property inspections. That's what that business does property inspections. So I sort of got that business up and running within a month and realised that there wasn't much that I knew. So I caught up with Ross, who was a friend of mine, a real estate agent that I bought and sold property through. And I sat down with him and I said, Ross, I'm sort of kicking off this business. He said to me, he asked me, he goes, well, what do you know about building inspections? And I said, very, very little, not much at all. And he laughed. And I said, well, tell me what I need to know. And so in the next hour or so that we chatted, he just gave me all the things, because he deals with, because he buys, works with clients who buy and sell property. He's dealing with lots of property inspections, and he has lots of information about things that go well, things that don't go well, things that frustrate him, all those sorts of things. So I walked out of there after that meeting, after an hour, and I had so much more knowledge than I had when I started. And I thought, wow, that's an amazing process. And it gave me ideas around, he said that pictures would be really useful in the reports. If they could get a copy of the report, would be really helpful. Things like, you just want to have a section in the reports that make it clear what needs to be done. No one ever rings them. I mean, a whole range of things that he pointed out. So I worked out that was a really valuable, because I guess as business owners, what we often think is what we have to know. We have to know what people want. We have to know what service to offer, how to frame it up. The reality is that we don't need to know that. The best way to reduce your risk and deliver a great exchange is to ask your clients or ask potential clients. They'll tell you. And so I did, this was at the startup phase of the business, I did over 100 of these, what I now call need and want interviews. I didn't have this as a system at that point. It's just something that came out of that process. And I look back on it later. And so after I'd done so many of them that I could see repeating information, repeating data, repeating issues. And so I actually built up a really clear data set as to what was needed and wanted by the marketplace. It's very hard to have done that with clients who get a property inspection done, because they would typically get one done every 5 or 6 or 7 years. And so it wouldn't have been as useful. But getting it done, doing that sort of an approach with people who are dealing with it on a daily basis is really, really valuable. So once I had all that information, I basically used that to frame up our entire business model for ResiCert. So how we engage with people, how we structured the reports, the communication processes. So I went to work then looking at everything that were the pain points, what people liked, what was missing. And because I had enough data, I saw it as recurring and it was quite commonplace. And so then it meant I was able to go into the marketplace and not just do what everyone else was doing, actually do and offer something better than what everyone else was doing. And it was quite funny, because when I was talking to many agents, a lot of them said I was the first inspector that actually contacted them and asked them what they wanted or what they thought about the inspection stuff. And some of them had been in the industry for decades. So it was quite a novel approach. It is still a novel approach. Not many people think to go and ask their clients. What I've done now with ResiCert is I've codified that process. It works so well that it's become a very successful action. So I've sort of codified it. We've got a whole system behind that and how it works. And all our franchisees in the business are required to do as part of their coming on board at least 20 to 25 of these need and want interviews. We've done thousands of these across the business over the many years that we've been in business, and it's enabled us to better understand the marketplace and how we can continually improve what we're doing. So need and want interviews are a really powerful tool, and if you're able to basically implement this process in your business, now you might be looking at, you might be sort of thinking about what could you do better. You could be in a situation where you're thinking about kicking off a business, and so if you're thinking about kicking off a business or a new service or something that you haven't done before, then it's a great way to find out exactly what is needed by the marketplace. And the idea behind this is it will reduce your risk, because if you go out to the marketplace, you ask them and you can deliver that, it clearly reduces risk, and it confirms for you that there is a demand for it. And it even tells you how to shape it up. How do you shape up the demand so that it really does touch the point? And so hopefully that gives you, it is become any clients that we work with, invariably we always talk about implementing this process in their business. So when you undertake these need and want, I'm just going to sort of outline some key steps to doing this. The first thing is that to consider and to keep in mind is that it's not a sales process. It's very important. It is market research. And if you go out with the view of conducting genuine market research, you'll get some really, really good results and data from it. So firstly, the aim behind this is to build a data set. You want to have, if you're just going out and having random conversations with clients or past clients or potential clients, it's not that useful. So it needs to be very structured with key questions and a format to it, because in order to build a data set, you need to have enough information relating to multiple answers. So it needs to be a data set. If it's just a conversation, it's not that useful. You should include a mix of questions with options. Some are free field answers. So a lot of them, the majority of the questions should be select or drop down or options, and then you can have free field ones to discuss those. But those, just be aware that when you do free field answers to questions, they're harder to analyze. Don't sell. So as much as we all want to do that, it really undermines the process. Do not share information about what you're planning or a new service you're looking at rolling out, or I've kicked off my business and this is how I do this. When I talk to franchisees about the process, they're not allowed to share information about what they do, their pricing, hand their brochures. The only thing that they can do is give the person they're interviewing a business card or their contact details. That's it. It's not a sales process. If it comes up in conversation, then that's fine, but it's not a sales process. Don't include, as I said, any sales or promotional material. That's really, really important. And these are best done in person. So we've got a mechanism of contacting people to undertake them, and these are best done in person. So it's a short meeting. You can do it in a video call, but ideally you build a little bit more rapport with someone, and it gives you the ability to collect that data and share the data. So ideally, it's something you could do in person. And if you, as I said, if you're starting a new business, you can do it with who might potentially be referring work to you or potential clients. If you've been in business, go back to your current clients and conduct some need and want interviews with them. Looking into, what can you do better? So it's very important you frame up the questions and map it out clearly. So that you can build this data set, but then it'll give you clues about what you can do better, what's not working that well, where the opportunities lie, scope to provide more services. And when you engage, when you kick off at the process, make sure they're aware that you're doing this and why you're doing this, and that you really value their input and their thoughts so that you can improve your service to them. you probably need a minimum number of interviews. You do need a minimum number of these need and wants. That's with franchisees, we talk about doing 20, 25. Many of them just keep doing this because it's such a valuable process. You might decide that you want 50. Once you start seeing the data not changing much, like the analysis of the data not changing much, you've probably collected enough information relating to it. And it's all about really seeking to understand. It forces us to not talk. It forces us to listen and to go to our marketplace and our clients with an open mind, which is incredibly valuable. And also think about different groups of people. So, for example, with ResiCert, we had real estate agents who had specific needs, mortgage brokers, conveyancers, builders. And so you would actually have potentially different sets of questions for these different groups because they have different motivations or different reasons. And some of the things that you might want to include, and you're really trying to understand the market. You might talk about the volume of the need for your product or service. So what volume, how many do you sell? How many do you need? How many do you provide? How do they deal with that at the moment? Where do they get it from at the moment? Pricing, information. What's been their general experience and satisfaction levels with the product or the service? Good and bad. What do they like? What do they dislike about it? Any areas where they would suggest some improvements to make it better? Is there anything else in the other services they think would be valuable, as part of it? And so it's sort of...
I'm not sure I understand.
And so it's all about collecting information that will provide some clarity for you so that you can improve your business or work out which direction to go with your business. So I would really encourage you to look really closely at this need and want. We've got more information about how to go about this, but this is actually now an entire system and process. It's every time we sort of launch out into the market with a new product or a new service, this is a start point with it to help us really understand what the market wants and to make sure that we can deliver what they want, and also reduces our risk, so that we're not just rolling out something that we've fallen in love with, but no one actually wants it. So it should become a way of operating. And as you do this process, you can understand that with existing clients, it's really powerful because you're going out to them and asking them what they want, what they need, what you could do better. And if you contact potential clients or potential prospects and they say, "Oh, no, I've already got someone that does that for me," you say, "That's fine. I'm not actually, I'm not selling. I'm just trying to understand how to better deliver our business and our services." And so if you can catch up with them for a coffee for 15 to 20 minutes, it's still useful because there's no pressure to sell and you are doing no selling. You'll find that my experience has been successful people like helping other people, and so other business owners as well, because they relate to them. So once you've undertaken this process, you'll have an incredible data set that will give you an advantage over your competitors and what's taking place in the market. And the idea behind this is you really do want to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. You want to do it differently. You want to look at how you can provide a framework or a process or a product that no one else is doing. And instead of, you don't need to go and engage agencies and lots of people and resources and consultants. I mean, the easiest way to do this is to ask your clients or ask your potential marketplace, even through questionnaires. And we do this when we work with clients who are looking at franchising their business. We effectively do this in an online format where we create a questionnaire for potential people who might, and we don't tell them what we're doing. We're just saying that we're looking at improving. For example, we're working with a law firm. We're saying we're looking at improving the life of lawyers and looking at alternative approaches to how that could work. And then we ask them a bunch of questions that give us clarity on where the pain points are for them and if our business model is actually going to satisfy their needs and is going to meet a need or demand that's in the marketplace. So it's very simple. It's a simple process, incredibly powerful. It can help you really distinguish yourself in the marketplace, give you a competitive edge, and instead of following what everyone else is doing, enable you to create your own unique business model. And that'll take you closer to your ideal business model, because this process, the need and wants, has an impact on risk and also has an impact on the criteria of exchange. So look, I hope that was useful to you. We've got a lot of information about how to undertake and implement these, which we're happy to share with you. Thanks for listening. Look forward to catching up with you again, and all the best. Ciao for now.